All right, let's do this thing and get this thing over with. Today, Postgame Live, Broncos drop their second game in a row, and this team has to learn how to win close games. This team has to learn how to play with better discipline. This team's got to have a better game plan to begin the games. I mean, come on, man. The win was right there for you. Mistakes, penalties. Why can't Bo Nix hit a deep pass? Seriously, come on. I'm a little ticked off, as I'm sure most of Broncos country is as well. But it's time to talk about it. It's time to get things off my chest and respond to you in the chat room there as well. Orange Blue today, Postgame Live. Again, you knew this one was going to be tough. You knew it was going to be a hard-fought battle. And at the end, you do not get the win. The Denver Broncos fall short to the Chargers. Still haven't beat the Chargers in the Bo Nix era. What in the world has gone wrong with the Denver Broncos, now sitting at 1-2 on the season? And the last two, especially painful because they are those close games. But guess what the NFL is? It's a bunch of close games. You have to get used to winning close games. You have to not give the game away. You've got to play your best when the lights are the brightest. We'll get to all that and more on today's program. Welcome in. I am Cecil Lammey, and I am fed up with this team losing. I know they're 1-2. Okay? I know it's early in the season and there's plenty of football left, but this is a disappointing way to begin things in a hard-fought battle, a game that you fought to win, and it looked like you might if the offense has only pulled things out. But again, mistakes, penalties, bad coverage, refs throwing flags everywhere. I guess I'll start there. Like, this thing was a flag fest, just completely yellow laundry all over the field all the time early on. Hard to get in a rhythm. Certainly the Broncos offense wasn't in zero rhythm until the last drive before halftime. I think going into that drive, they had 41 yards, something like that. So it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch early on because of the mistakes, because of the laundry, yellow flags everywhere. It was tough to watch because the Broncos offense was discombobulated up until that drive before halftime. And you just thought, what is going on with Sean Payton and company? Now, to get it out the way, it's a long season. There's plenty of football left. I had them at 2-1 after this game. There's a handy-dandy schedule. When it was released, Mason and I went through the schedule. I had them at 2-1. They're 1-2 because you let that one against the Colts get away from you, and you honestly let this one get away from you as well. You should be 3-0, but you don't play with discipline, and you don't know how to win close games. Talanoa Hufanga is a great player. What the hell are you doing, bro? The hell are you doing? Throwing Keenan Allen to the ground. Like, everybody knows you can't do that. So what the hell are you doing? Talanoa Hufanga, an incredible player. So glad he's a Denver Bronco. But in that moment, you need the discipline of a veteran. And he made the mistake of a young player. There's no need for that extra bit of physicality, knowing the refs are going to call that. It's not like you were proving a point. Hell didn't stop Keenan Allen from scoring a touchdown later. So again, discipline with this team. It's odd that a veteran group. What did Adam Troutman have? Like 2 penalties today? Like, Adam Troutman, and by the way, some missed blocks out there. So we always talk about his blocking ability. Well, he had some missed blocks out there. He's your best, quote unquote, blocking tight end, and yet was missing some blocks and then having penalties called on him. Like, come on, dude. You're not out there for that. There's not enough of you as a weapon offensively for you to be able to be forgiven for those sorts of penalties, those sorts of mental mistakes, mental errors from a veteran team. Sean Payton off in his play calling. Goes to halftime, says they got to run more. Here comes J.K. Dobbins. So that looked fantastic, and that got things going because JK was ready to eat, right? But you didn't feature him early on in this game. You didn't feed him enough, and when they did run the ball, it was nothing but negative plays. So again, why these plays that don't make a lot of sense? Why these plays? I don't know what you had drawn up, and then they just don't work. The flea flicker. I probably got to be careful saying that. Flea flicker. Bo Nix doesn't step into the throw, overthrows the fastest guy on the planet. How's that happen? Like, you've got to step in a throw. And I know my buddy Kev, of course, Kevin Kistner from Dover and Cecil fame, Kev is texting like, Wattenberg was shoved right into him. You still got to step into that throw. You got to make that throw, Bo. We're not letting anybody off the hook, okay? I'm not making excuses for anybody. Even Joan Ellis had one bad play. He had an outstanding game. Joan Ellis looks like just a future stud in the making, and he even had one bad play. We're not letting anybody off the hook, and certainly not Bo Nix not connecting on those long passes. Like, dude, you connect on one of those, it's game over. You connect on the big one to Sutton, that's game over. That's literally game over. You connect the one on Mims, well, that's a touchdown on that flea flicker. And obviously that changes the construct and the flow of this game. So, Bo Nix, you got to be better. He played a clean game, which is good. But those deep passes, that disconnection, what have you, with Marvin Mims, him and Court were on point. I like to see that. I like to see JK used eventually. He was used. So you like that, but still only 21 carries for this ground game, 25 passes for Bo Nix. So balance. Bo Nix, too many carries, though. 8 carries. I don't want him carrying the ball 8 times. A couple of times play broke down. A couple of times designed runs, RPOs that didn't go anywhere. Only 2 carries for 2 yards for RJ Harvey, and then 3 catches for 14 yards for Harvey there. You've got to involve more people. You've got to make sure the offense is not stalling as it was on this day. And that's on Sean Payton. I thought Vance Joseph had a fantastic game plan. And this defense came to play. Now, they had some struggles. Riley Moss certainly still struggling. Alex Singleton struggling. You know, like, there's too many of these important key defenders like Alex Singleton, like Riley Moss, that continue to let Broncos fans down every single week. And that cannot happen. And it certainly can't happen when you're facing the best team in your division, the Chargers. And I can't stand that. Can't stand the Chargers. Don't really know any Chargers fans. So couldn't stand them if I did know Chargers fans. I've known one, and he was annoying and creepy, by the way. Like, come on. What are you doing, Broncos? You're dropping a great opportunity to be at the top of this division. Instead, the Chiefs probably going to win, and then you're going to be tied with them, and the Raiders stink and whatever. It's like, okay, so what are the Broncos? They're good enough to hang with the Colts, not win. They're good enough to hang with the Chargers, not win. What are you this early in the season? Well, you're 1-2. You are what your record says you are, and you've got to learn to win close games. They're not all going to be just gimme, team lays down. Every single one of these opponents, you're not sneaking up on anybody. You've got to win close games. And the lack of discipline from a Sean Payton-led team is simply devastating. It's absolutely devastating for this Broncos team. You're not good enough yet to make those mistakes and expect to win games. That's not how this team is built. And again, you don't have to play perfectly. I said it on the radio this last week. They don't have to play perfectly to beat the Chargers. They didn't play perfectly, and they had an opportunity to beat the Chargers. A pretty good one, and they let it slip through their fingers. Why? Bo Nix couldn't hit a deep pass. Defense can't stop Keenan Allen. You know, had a tough time with Omarion Hampton once he got going. Had a tough time getting to Justin Herbert. That touchdown to Keenan Allen, where he's fighting with Riley Moss in the end zone, and then just somehow that pass gets there to him. And heck of a play. But that's where Zach Allen pressures in the middle. He's right there. Herbert steps up. Benito had been waiting. Benito tried to move, and I remember watching that play, and he did this dip thing, and I was like, "You've been doing that too much today, Nick." So he did the dip thing. It didn't work, but he didn't continue on his arc. He just kind of dipped. It's not working. He stopped. He waited. Herbert's coming right at him, and he goes to make a move, and he slips. And because of that slip, this is how tight this game is. And no, the game, it's not on Nick Benito. Nick Benito had a great game. But this is how tight these games are. Benito is waiting for Herbert. Herbert is essentially flushed right to him because of Zach Allen. Benito goes to get him, and he slips. And that slight little stumble gave him a slight little hesitation, a slight little moment, so that Herbert was able to throw it to Keenan Allen for a touchdown. And that was ball game, essentially. That was ball game. It's gut-wrenching because this team is good. They're not on the level of Buffalo or Baltimore yet. They can still get there. It's week 3. Nobody lose their mind. But this is disappointing. And it's kind of stomach churning. Maybe it's the Swiss rolls that I had before this show. Like, there's something stomach churning about the way the Broncos are losing because they should have won. Yeah, I mean, I could easily make the argument they should be 3-0, and they're not. They're 1-2, and they're staring up at the Chargers, who now have complete control of this division. And I know it's week 3, and I know there's a ton of football left to play, but you just let them in the driver's seat, and you have to fight now and hope that they stumble. Now, the Chargers notoriously choke. So don't at me, bro, if here on September 21st, by the time we get to December 21st, if the Chargers have choked away the division, if the Chiefs is caught up, by the way, and if the Broncos are holding pace. I mean, this division's going down to the wire. Just like this game came down to the wire. And I know the the Chargers have this big lead. They're 3-0 in the division. They've got this big lead. It seems insurmountable at this time. It might be insurmountable at this time. We'll see about that. But come December 21st, in 2 months, I want to know where the Broncos at, where the Chargers at. How have you improved? How have you gotten your game plan better? Have you come out and done what works, as we saw at the beginning of the third quarter, where it was working with J.K. Dobbins? Dobbins, the revenge game was something that everybody had talked about. Revenge game for J.K. Dobbins, and you don't feature him more? I understand there is, maybe trying to save him up or whatever, but 11 carries, 83 yards. Why isn't he over 100? Why didn't you get him to 15 again? And I will repeat this. Like I've said before, if J.K. Dobbins gets 15 carries a game, I won't say a damn thing. If he gets 11 carries, I'm going to say something, especially when he's at 7.5 yards a carry? Yeah, 7.5 yards a carry. 7.5 yards a carry. And yet you didn't have the plan to come out and feature him right away when he was ready to do that. He was ready to eat. He was ready to grind away on this team. And your first half doldrum offense, just absolutely just stunning that Sean Payton would put together such a limp game plan. I mean, it's just preposterous that a Sean Payton offense would look that bad for one half of football mostly. Except for that final drive when it got going, and you're like, why didn't you do this earlier? Why aren't you sharper earlier? Sean Payton talked about fast start. They're 1-2. That's not a fast start, bro. So, and they don't fast start in games. It's certainly not a fast start to the season. You're digging yourself a hole. Isn't that a Jay-Z song? Dig a hole? Yeah, you've dug yourself a hole now that you have to climb out of. So you've essentially made your job harder. And the schedule isn't going to get much easier. There's some spots, of course, Cincinnati with Jake Browning. We'll see if they can bounce back from that one. And that's the Monday night game coming up next week. I have a Monday night post-game show for you, so that'll be a late one. Philadelphia is going to be tough. And the Philadelphia game was pretty exciting the way it ended against the Rams today. Jets probably not. Giants probably not. Cowboys, who knows? Texans, who knows? Raiders probably. I mean, and then you have the Chiefs right before your bye. If you won this game, you'd have been sitting pretty. If you'd won this game, you'd be sitting at the top of the AFC West. And with your next divisional game, again, like I said, coming up with the Raiders in week 10, it's week 3. You don't play another divisional game until week 10. So you would have been, with some good games coming up. Again, we'll watch the Philly game, see how that one works out. But you caught a break with Cincinnati with Joe Burrow being out. The Jets stink. The Giants stink. Like, you have a little bit of an opportunity to go on a run, which you should anyway, by the way, but you're 1-2 instead of being 2-1 or, shocker, 3-0. Special teams mistakes. I mean, Coach Rizzi, come on. Coach Katwika and this unit wasn't as bad as this year, and all of these mistakes. And when Darren Rizzi's hired, one, you go, okay, it's Sean Payton's guy. It's his boy. So, of course, he's going to get hired. But at the same time, there is an assumption, which is very dangerous, that special teams are going to be aces, right? Just like, yeah, they've got no problems with special teams. They've got problems with special teams with penalties. That we're just, special teams just got fixed like a year ago, and now it's a problem again. I don't like that. This game is too close, and you're not good enough to blow teams out of the water. That's the bottom line. And take it for whatever it's worth, Broncos country. Get as offended as you like. But you're not dominant enough to just go in and kick the crap out of somebody. And, oh, yeah, you made a couple, Troutman with a couple penalties. Bowles had the penalty. Whatever over here, penalty over here, penalty over here. It's fine because you're so good, it just doesn't matter. Every little thing matters. And it adds up. It's an aggregate. And at the end of the game, all of your mistakes put you in that position to lose in that manner. Offense got going, and then it stalled somewhat again. You just needed some more points. You just needed some more breathing room. You were not going to keep Justin Herbert down this entire game. Period. As great as the defense was playing, they were not going to keep Ladd McConkey, and hell, they couldn't stop Ronda Gadsden. That'd be nice if he was here, huh? Don't get me started on that. I don't think anyone wants to hear my Caleb Lohner rant again. But, yeah, you have a guy in Ronda Gadsden that, you could have had. You could have picked up. And you didn't do that. And now you're sitting here going, oh, boy, you've got some problems. You've got some problems to figure out here. By the way, Gadsden, 5th rounder. So anyway, I will lay sigh, as I quote Pepe Le Pew for some unknown reason. Again, I'll quote Looney Tunes just randomly. It's what I do. And I apologize. I'm doing my normal weekly brain dump, and I hope y'all are having fun. Because this is not fun. It's not fun to talk about this team that's better than their record shows. Now, again, your record is who you says you are. So they're 1-2. That's not great, Bob. 1-2 means they're a below average team. 1-2 means they're, not a serious playoff contender. Can they still make the playoffs? Of course. Of course. That's easy. I mean, look at the way they started last year, and then they won 10 games. So is 10 games still possible? Yes, of course. Don't be ridiculous. As I sound like Balky. Is 11 games possible? Yes, of course. Don't be ridiculous. Is 13 games possible like I had predicted? Probably not now. And it doesn't have anything to do with my prediction or the Broncos aren't as good as you thought they were. They're just starting a lot slower than I thought they would. Bo Nix is having struggles that I didn't think he would. Marvin Mims, the fastest guy ever. You shouldn't overthrow that guy. You should be able to be on point and on the money with him. I understand Franklin, some things they tried to get Franklin going. It didn't exactly work. I'm not mad at Troy at all. Troy's putting in a great effort. Certainly not mad at Court for what he did. I'm not mad at Marvin. I mean, Bo didn't hit him. You got to hit him. And is it unfair because the quarterback and the offensive line, okay, yeah, but you're the quarterback. You got to make these plays. And whether it's a flea flicker or whether it's just trying to hit Court on an out and up, great job by Court. Fantastic job by Court. And Court did the work, and Bo didn't hit him. Bo hits him, it's game over. So we're still going to Bo leave. And yes, I think I will forever wear this shirt. and I'll show you the sticker. Still got a Bo leave, okay? Everyone's doing that. Still believing, but at the same time, I'm not just going to cover my eyes and say, Bo Nix was incredible. This isn't a CU show, okay? I'm not doing Blog Boy Media. Bo Nix needed to be a little better today, and I'm disappointed that he was not. Because I didn't expect Bo Nix to, one, have the turnovers that he did in the first two games, and then the long game being off is, again, not on my Bo Nix bingo card. I'm expecting a year two jump, not more year two kind of stumbles, not some more year two struggles, right? I'm expecting year two jump. And again, it's early, but this game was the opportunity. Colts game was sickening because of the way that it ended. You won, then you lost, all within like a 10-second span. You won, then you lost because of leveraging, which was the right call. And yes, they can call leveraging. They did it. They did leveraging. They lost the game because of it. Terrible call by Coach Rizzi. I know that he said at his press conference, which a lot of people were there. I'm usually at the coordinators on Thursday. Usually no one's there to talk to Coach Rizzi. People were there to talk to Coach Rizzi after the Colts game. Why? Because a terrible call that he said he'd never called before. Well, don't call it again. And you definitely saw more caution today from the Broncos anytime they lined up for any sort of field goal block. But still, like the lack of discipline from the special teams, lack of discipline from the defense. Like, you don't win games like this when you're not that good yet. You're a good team. Dare I say, a very good team. You're not a great team. The great teams are Buffalo and Baltimore. And the Chargers might be getting there as well. They lost how many offensive linemen today? Still didn't help you. You did get after Justin Herbert. He's a damn tough quarterback, damn fine quarterback. And he is tough to get after. He's tough to rattle. And you got him down 5 times, 5 sacks on Justin Herbert, and 4 quarterback hits, it looks like. So, I mean, you did what you could, but you still fell short because you're going to have to win close games. I've seen the future. And unless it's one of these pushover teams, which there's not many on the schedule, but unless it's one of these, let's say it's the Packers later on this year. Let's say it's the Chiefs later on this year. Let's say it's the Commanders later on this year. Or hell, even Dallas. You're going to have to win close games. If you don't have better discipline, then you might be pushing for 10 wins. I still think 10 wins is like people that were saying 11 wins on the season. Dover said that. I think Mace said that. I'm just like, 11? Come on. You're soft selling it. Right? And it doesn't mean 13 is bold, but they're good enough to win 13 games. And now they're probably not going to do that because you've dropped too many early in the season. Because you don't have discipline, you get too many penalties, and in these one-score games, you haven't shown the ability to win. I know the Titans game was a one-score game, but still, like, they're all going to be like this. So if you have your heart medication, or if you need your heart medication, make sure to take it before a Broncos game, because they're almost all going to be like this. Maybe the Bengals game is different, but I'm not counting anything. Chickens before they're hatched, right? I'm not counting any of that with this Broncos team. Why would I say they're going to roll over the Bengals? Now they should, especially if Jake Browning plays the way he did today. So they should roll against the Bengals. Still feels kind of odd saying that after this sort of game when you had an opportunity against a really good Chargers team. If you say the Bills and the Ravens are great, if you say the Chargers are very good, then you could say the Broncos are good. See, there's levels to this, and they're not on that top tier level. They've got to get there. They have the talent to get there. They have the well-paid talent to get there. They have no excuses. I don't want to hear about, Dre Greenlaw and Evan Ingram. What, Kroll on a tip caught some. Thank God that was caught by Lucas Kroll, because Lord knows you did not need another interception from Bo Nix. But that tipped catch by Lucas Kroll, that was the first catch for a tight end. It's preposterous. So with the Evan Ingram, man, they played well, but they didn't have Ingram. They didn't have Greenlaw, guys. Listen, I'm still pissed off because this team is better than that. So I can't analyze this game. I know maybe for some fans it's easy to say, well, they played good football and they're right there, guys. And if they only, they're almost there. They're almost there, guys. I can't do that. I can admit how good this team is on paper, but damn it, you got to do it when the games count. You can't just sit here and like, man, we got all pro here, all pro there, whatever here. Like, you've got to do it. It's action. Action is required. You can't just talk about it, Sean. So again, I get it's early in the season, but this is still incredibly frustrating because you could, best case scenario, be 3-0. Or, hey, the Colts game got away from you. Yeah, that weird leverage call. You're 2-1. You're in control of the AFC West. And you've got what could be a gimme game against the Bengals coming up. You got a challenge against the Eagles coming up. You got a couple of gimmies. Jets and Giants look like gimme games for you. Raiders in week 10, all these sorts of things. So you have a schedule that's setting up for you to go on a bit of a run, but you could have and should have gotten off to a fast start. I believe that Sean Payton has failed in that effort to get off to a fast start. I don't think any one of us can sit here with a straight face and say, that's a fast start, 1-2. And almost doesn't count. Close doesn't count, except for horseshoes and hand grenades. It doesn't count. So they were close with the Colts, and they were close with the Chargers. Doesn't matter. They dropped them, and they shouldn't have dropped them. This team is better than that. I believe in this team. I believe that they can get as sharp as they need to be for a postseason run longer than last year, right? It's very delicate now after they're 1-2 to say like, hey, postseason run, but this is just what I believe. And again, could be proven wrong, whatever. But I believe they can be better. They can be sharper. They can be more on point. They can be healthier. For the love of God, Dre Greenlaw. Like, they can be healthier at the appropriate time they need to be. But wouldn't it have been nice if they would have got this one and then they're 2-1 and then they're, controlling the AFC West, and then you go on a run and, we'll see what happens with Philadelphia, but you beat the Bengals, you beat the Giants, you beat the Jets. Like, you go on a bit of a run. You start building up confidence for the rest of the season, building up confidence for a postseason run. They have to get past the first round. They have to this year for progress, for quote unquote success. Success is when you hoist the Lombardi trophy. And I can't wait for Sean Payton to do that because he'll be the first head coach to win a Super Bowl with two different franchises, much like Peyton Manning was the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl with two different franchises. And I can't wait, instead of saying this one's for John or this one's for Pat, Sean Payton will hoist the Lombardi in front of Roger Goodell and say, this one's for me. And I'm here for it. Sean, I'm on your side, buddy. You got to be better. You got to be better. Point blank, period. He has to be better. Why does it take until right before the half to get your offense going? Why does it take into the second half for you to go more to J.K. Dobbins? That's curious. Why does Bo Nix look better when he doesn't, there's no play change? So what is that about? There's still a ton of questions with this team, which even in a win, had they won last week, my show would have been a little bit different. I'd have been less disappointed, and it bothered me into Monday. I got all the way through Monday's show, 4 hours of radio, and I was still pissed off. So it would have changed the mood, but you still have questions. If they had won this one, it'd change my mood, but they'd still have questions. Too many questions, says Jim Carrey as the Riddler in Batman Forever. Too many questions for this Broncos team, and we'll see how they can come up with the answers now as they get a little bit of an extra day. Everyone get fresher, get healthier, get ready for week 4 Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's Orange Blue today. It's Postgame Live. I'm Cecil Lammey doing a brain dump. Thank you all. Appreciate you for being here. I'm going to bring up some of your comments from the chat room, and I'm sorry, right now I have 1,900 comments, so I'm not going to get to them all. So I hope you guys in the live chat are having a good time. I'm having less of a good time, but it's mainly because I know this team is better than their record. And it doesn't make me a homer. It doesn't make me whatever. Like, just all of us should know they are better than the record that they currently have. But they currently have this record because they have not cleaned up their discipline, too many stupid penalties, and they have not cleaned up offensively and defensively. There's still some issues out there. There's still some players to be picked on. So we'll see how that goes. And yes, obviously with the Greenlaw news, you're just going to have to grin and bear it now, man. And, part of me goes, this is why you don't ignore inside linebacker for a decade and then expect it to be fixed from a guy that's always hurt or has a major injury, I should say, major injury. That's the reason why you're able to even get him from the 49ers. And I'm talking about Dre Greenlaw. So you've got to deal with this now. You made this bed. You have to lie in it. But while you're lying in this bed that isn't as good as it could be if everybody was healthy, you got to win. This season is too short. I know it's September. We're going to blink and it's going to be Christmas. Okay? And this season is too short to be effing around. Hope the kids are in bed. Season is too short to be effing around with these type of games where you're losing because of yourself. I'm not taking it away from the Chargers. The Chargers won this game. But the Broncos do a couple of things differently. They do one thing differently. Bo hits Sutton. One throw different. Game's over. One throw. That's how tight things are for this team. That's how tight they're going to be when they face a kind of a second-tier team. I think the Broncos are pushing to be in that second tier, not be a third-tier team, which if you're a third-tier team in the NFL, there's about 5 tiers. Top tier is, Baltimore, Buffalo, that sort of tier. Second tier are your challengers, your contenders, guys that could make some noise. Broncos were pushing there last year, obviously making the wild card. I believe they can firmly be a second-tier team that is a dangerous out by the time the season ends. But, man, this sucks. Early on, this sucks. So you're a third-tier team, which means you're average. And right now, with your record, you're below average. Not to go barnyard psychology and Dr. Phil on you, but how'd that work out? You're 1-2, man. And again, I could make the argument you should be 3-0. All right, gonna get over it, maybe. Need your help, and that's where y'all come up in the chat room, and that's where you can help out here. And by the way, no, who shows up regularly just to say that Bo Nix sucks. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. So I need the chat room to put me in a better mood and to get it off your chest. I don't need the chat room to have comments like Bo Nix sucks. That's not the case. That's not what we're looking at here. Bo Nix failed to make a couple of throws, but Bo Nix does not suck. Okay. I like what Jason says. Y'all jumping off the Bo bandwagon. Don't come back. Good. That's what I think. And you've got to work through the kinks with this young man while also getting the best football out. When the deep throws aren't happening, you have to examine why. Is it a timing issue? In practice, you'll be able to practice those type of things. It's not necessarily like running the ball where there's no live tackling in practice. You're going to be able to practice those deep shots. So Marvin and Bo need to be on that same page, because when they are, it's awesome. Let's say he hits both of those throws. Let's say he hits the Mims throw, and that's a touchdown on the flea flicker. And then let's say the Chargers fight back, and then he still has to do the Sutton out and up, and he hits the Sutton out and up. Now it's just what are you going to do? Broncos can run the ball. Broncos can throw the ball. They can dink and dunk it, and they can attack you deep. They can do it all because they can when they're clicking on all cylinders. But clearly, if you hear that tick, you got a lifter problem or something like that. I am a wannabe gearhead. I don't have enough time to turn a wrench like I used to. But yeah, listen to your cylinders. There's a lifter. There's something wrong. You've got something wrong here. Now, Mike says the Bolts aren't that good. I would say this, Mike. The Bolts could be that second-tier team that makes a push in the postseason. I won't say that they're not that good. I think this was clearly the best team that you faced this year. I know Indianapolis get all offended. That's fine. but like it's the best quarterback that you faced this year, no doubt. Justin Herbert is an MVP level type of player, could win the MVP this year. So if the Bolts aren't that good, Mike, and Mike's one of the real ones in the chat room. So Mike, this isn't about your comment, but I'm just going to ask you a question back. If the Bolts aren't that good, what's that make Denver? If the Bolts are an up and coming, like second tier, pushing for first tier type of team, well, Denver took them to the brink. I like that. One, I believe that, to be honest. But if you do have your opinion of the Bolts aren't that good, well, what's that mean for Denver? You just got beat by a team that's not that good. I'd rather have it the other way and not for the hyperbole standpoint of like, well, at least the Broncos lost to a great team. No, the Broncos lost to a damn good team. I don't think they're Buffalo or Baltimore, but they're a damn good team. And they consistently choke, so we'll just be waiting for that to happen. But in the meantime, you could have helped yourself out by winning this game. They should have won this game. Oh, man. Anime Ascension says if there's 5 tiers, the Broncos are tier 4, 1 loss away from tier 5. I mean, that's a brutal truth for this team. On the fence says Bo looked really bad. Bo looked bad on a few throws. He played a clean game, and I'm not making any sort of excuses for Bo Nix. 14 to 25, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, no INT, sacked a couple of times. Footwork still looks a little bit off at times. He's mechanically kind of suffering or struggling at times when he doesn't need to. And yes, even on the plays where you're going to take a shot, you have to step into your throw, and you have to do it. I mean, Manny did it. Brady did it. Elway did it. Like, it sucks that you can't just kind of flip it off your back foot and still make that throw. Things are too tight in this league. The schedule's too tight. The teams are too good. And each individual play, like you've set it up. You've done the flea flicker. Now step into that thing, get that proper air underneath it so that Marvin can score a touchdown. And yeah, you're going to take one on his chin. What's the Martin Lawrence and blue streak when he goes to Dave Chappelle before he hits him? And he goes, this is going to hurt a little bit. Yeah, you call a flea flicker, guess what? It's going to hurt a little bit. So I wouldn't say Bo looked really bad. I'd say Bo missed a couple of those throws that you want. And we will see what happens. Too many obvious screen passes. Alf says that. I will say Sean Payton's playbook, it's pretty large. It's like a Waffle House menu. He could call a better game early on. It got going, but early on, none of these plays that you drew up were working. And yet you still went back to them. Beavis says, here's our problem. Nathaniel Hackett has our voodoo doll. We need to rescue it from him. Okay. Well, Nathaniel Hackett, you stink. I'd like to get that voodoo doll back from him. KR says the Denver media hyped this team. So did the national media. I would say this, there's reasons to be excited, and I know KR, everyone likes to blame the media, but I would say national media, yeah, it got a little ridiculous to Super Bowl all the time, and local media, I don't really think did that. But there's plenty of reasons to be excited about this team as a playoff team and as a team that can win more in the playoffs than they did last year, because obviously they didn't win a game in the playoffs last year. So overhype or just reality, and you're not living up to your reality. And that's, I think, my issue where I come around with the Denver Broncos is I say, you're 1-2. You're better than that. And I had them at 2-1. Again, I had them losing this game when the schedule first came out. And I felt because of the Colts game, I was like, maybe they can get this win. I called it on Friday, 24-20, something like that. Like, they could get this win. And they don't get this win. But I don't think it's a matter of overhyping the Broncos. Because what are the real Broncos? What are the real Broncos? I want everyone to do this exercise, okay? And Brian says, I'm effing blind because Bo Nix does suck. Brian, that's incredibly inaccurate, and you don't have to cuss, bro. I would say this, and everyone do this exercise. Where are the real Broncos? National media saying Super Bowl, are they at that? No, they're not. Everyone in the chat room that's not a Broncos fan basically saying they suck. Well, that's not the case. They're 1-2, so that sucks, but they don't suck. They're middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack. The talent is there to be more than middle of the pack. The players are there to be more than middle of the pack. So is it overhype from the Denver media and the national media, or is it underperforming from Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos? I think it's the latter. And it doesn't mean the media exactly knows everything about football or whatever, but this team has talent. Bo Nix is a talented quarterback. And he needs to be better. RJ Harvey has more talent. They tried to use him more. Didn't really work out, but they tried. I asked Sean Payton about RJ on Wednesday, and he said he's an important part of what we do. And then they really tried to feature him early on, and it didn't work. I know, like, Travion Henderson's waiting for his opportunity in New England. He'll probably get it now with Ramondre Stevenson fumbling and Antonio Gibson fumbling. So, we look at these rookie backs. What was it? Ryan Clark being ignorant about Ashton Jeanty, saying he was a bust after 2 games. Like, come on, it'd be like the people in the chat room saying Bo Nix sucks. Bo Nix doesn't suck. Don't get over it. Okay. Could Bo Nix have been better today? Yes, of course. That doesn't mean he sucks. So let's stop with this hyperbolic, like, it's over, guys. Just wrap up the season then. Don't even hey, good thing Avs start play on Sunday, right? Don't even watch the Broncos the rest of the year. Like, again, let's not be ridiculous. I'm pissed off. I am supremely pissed off at this team. Why? Because I know they're better. And I guess instead of being angry or righteous anger, I should feel more disappointed because I know these guys are better. They're not being coached as well as they need to be. I think Sean Payton is failing this year with his early play calling. It's coming around, but it's not sharp right off the jump. You spend all week preparing for this team, and then you trot out that offense for most of the first half. That does not make sense. Chewbacca defense. Why would an 8-foot-tall Wookiee live on a planet with a bunch of 2-foot-tall Ewoks? Does not make sense. So what are they? White Devil says, how drunk are we, Broncos country? Well, Broncos country is, they're going to be pretty upset with this one. That's for sure. B saying, check down Bo Nix. Well, when you don't hit the long ones, that's what they're going to call you. So today, Brad calls me state media. Nope. Broncos don't pay my salary. So I can say whatever I want and I won't get in trouble for it. Guys on KOA can't say that. I don't care what they say. They know the truth. And the truth is they can't really rip into the Broncos because they're the Broncos station. I could say whatever I want about the Broncos. And it's good. So no, not state media. Just someone that looks at this team with optimism. Someone that looks at this team with, I see what they are. They're not playing to what they are. So again, for everyone that wants to get off the Broncos bandwagon, I applaud you to do that. Jump. I applaud you right now. If you're Brad, if you're whoever, all the guys saying Bo Nix sucks, Noah, whatever that guy's name is, like all of you, please jump off the Broncos bandwagon right now. We don't need you. Sorry. Because if you're not going to have the wherewithal to stick with a team when they're 1-2 and you know they're better, it's not like if the Broncos kind of sucked and they were like, okay, they're kind of getting there. They're like a year away from being the team they were last year. If that was the case, 1, I would be saying that. And then 2, we'd be like, okay, I mean, you beat up on Tennessee, whatever. And then you kind of Colts game, whatever. And then this game, yeah, the Chargers just vastly superior. Are the Chargers vastly superior to the Broncos? I do not believe so. Yet their records would show that they are vastly superior. From a talent standpoint, are the Los Angeles Chargers vastly superior to the Denver Broncos? I would say no. Their record would indicate that they are. So again, if you, hey, everything sucks, sky is falling. If you want to go Chicken Little or James Marilat, which is the same thing, then go for it. Jump off the bandwagon. I don't care. Broncos country doesn't need you. What this team needs to do is start playing up to their potential. And if they're going to talk a big game, you better back it up with a big game. And so far, they have not been doing that. They have not been doing that at all whatsoever. And that's why you're 1-2 at this point. You should not be 1-2. I see my man Creaky in there. Yeah, there's Creaky. Stop making excuses for Moss. I don't think I did, but what's up, Creaky? Moss needs to sit. Yeah. I agree with this one. The note Bartello, too many arbitrary calls. Yeah, it's like I don't need the refs to be just tossing yellow laundry all the time. That was mind-numbing. Anime does say if Bo gets better at reading coverage, I foresee him being similar to Baker. He's good, still growing. That's perfect. Right now is Bo Nix everything you need him to be? No, obviously. But is there hope for the future? Yes, of course. And again, it doesn't make me a homer. It doesn't make me state-run media. It just makes me honest about this team. Bo Nix is good. He's not playing the way that he needs to. He needs to play up to his potential. They need to be better because they have better talent. And they're not playing up to that talent. Rigo says the Denver Jar Jar Binks just getting in their own way. To that, I would say mooey mooey. That's right. And man, Bo's taking a lot of arrows today from Broncos country out there. But John saying, Bo looks awful. Stop kidding yourself. Bo missed some throws, that's for sure. Yeah, so the Bo Sucks crowd is out and about. I'm not going to put any of that on the screen. So go for it. Go for it. Now, Ryan, here's an interesting point from Ryan. Now, this is the type of stuff we can talk about because the Bo Sucks crowd, sorry, you're wrong. Bo doesn't suck. He needs to play better, but he doesn't suck. It looks like Bo is making one read. A couple of times I would have thought that, yes. There's a few more times when, and the coach's film will watch, just watch his head. Like he is making more than one read at times. And at times he's taken off to run, either one by design, which I don't like necessarily, or two, like he's taking off to run, but he's not fully committing to run because he's still trying to look downfield. And there's sometimes, especially as a young quarterback, like, hey, they're giving you that lane, just take it. I know that you could stay and you could maybe throw it right before you cross the line. So it seems like even though before the start of the season, because now the start of the season's here, anything they said before the start of the season, you can kind of weigh properly. When Bo Nix said, oh, now in the second year, I don't have to think about my footwork. Maybe you should. When Bo Nix said, like, now I'm more comfortable and I can, well, okay, well then show it. Because he's not seeing ghosts. I'm definitely watching for him seeing ghosts. He's not feeling pressure when it's not there. But he's also, I'm not saying rattled by pressure, but the pressure moves him in a way that doesn't help the Broncos. Like I said, he'll kind of take off to run. What if you just took off to run? What if you drop back? And again, I don't like it, but if the play dictates it and everybody's covered or whatever, you drop back and then you just take off to run and stop worrying about the I can throw at the last second thing, which I know can make big plays and can be exciting. But also at the same time, when you kind of take off to run, you know what happens? Derwin James catches you. The defenders catch you. So, again, he's not seeing ghosts, but the pressure, he's not attacking the pressure. You know, if there's a blitz, what are veteran quarterbacks? If you blitz Peyton Manning, what would you do? He would crush you. If you blitz Pat Mahomes, what does he do? He crushes you. You don't blitz Pat Mahomes. I want to feel that same way eventually about Bo Nix, where it's like, you're very dangerous blitzing this guy because he's going to pick you apart. He's not yet doing that. So with Ryan's question, I think that's fair. the Bo Nick sucks crowd, like, this isn't the show for you. Go find somewhere else. Like, that's fine. Get out of here. I don't need that. Bo Nick sucks. He doesn't suck. Come on. And it doesn't make me a homer or whatever. It's just Bo needs to be better on those deeper throws, because that's one of the reasons why this game didn't go their way. I like this one from Ben. Offense isn't aggressive enough. Team needs to play with urgency. They started to, but it was right before halftime. So where's the urgency to begin a game? Where's the crafted plays to begin the games? And 2 weeks ago, I asked Joe Lombardi about it, of like, hey, what's your guys' script like? Because we're used to the Shanahan 15 plays. We're running these plays, whatever. We're running these plays. And Joe Lombardi had said 2 weeks ago to my question that, hey, they've got about 12 plays. They all come together. What do you like? What does this work? Whatever. And then it's up to Sean to kind of stick with the script or go off the script. And down a distance, things will change based on what you do with that, in terms of, did that first play work? Now will your second play work? Stuff like that. So they're trying to stack plays, and they're not able to do that. So I agree with playing with a sense of urgency. Need a sense of urgency. Also, as Miguel says, you need contributions from your rookie class. You need those contributions, because right now, had you drafted Jihad Campbell instead of Jahdae Barron, you might be happier. If you had drafted Omarion Hampton instead of Jahdae Barron, you might be happier. Pat Bryant, and again, receivers take 3 years, but okay. 5th rounder, what was that? Crawshaw was a 6th. So, Aronde Gadsden being a 5th rounder, there's a tight end that got away from you. Why you ever wanted Caleb Lohner, it's beyond me. Crawshaw's fantastic, so I won't do punter talk. Wait for Mace to do that. And RJ needs to be better. If we look around the league, and not making excuses for him, but Trevion, Hampton, up to that Harris injury, like, Hampton's going to do a lot more now. So we'll definitely see. And that will be a comparison, whether people like it or not. You're going to compare Hampton to Harvey all the time. Genty's a different story, because you were never going to get up that high, even though the Broncos really liked him, because you should really like Ashton Genty. And it sucks that he's a Raider, because the Raiders suck. But it would be nice if your rookies were doing more. You see it around the league. Hell, what did Cleveland have? Like 6 rookies that helped them out today? Now, you don't want to be Cleveland, but they got a win over a damn good team, and you lost to what I think is a damn good team in the Los Angeles Chargers. Ryan said, you did say 13 wins, Cecil. Yeah, I did. Okay. And it's because I believe in this talent. They're not off to a great start. So 13 wins, you can pretty much kiss that bye-bye. And it doesn't mean that now I've changed to now they can get 11. No, this team should be in line to do that. But if you play like this, you're not going to, and you're going to win 10 games. But I don't think 10 games should be considered a success, especially if 1, you don't make the playoffs, or 2, you make the playoffs and you lose again in the very first game. They have to be better, and they have to be better right now. Blame the league. This ticky-tack flag BS needs to be fixed. Very true. Slows down the game, takes away any of the fun or the excitement. And then, of course, every fan's a ref. So, it was last week with the Colts. You heard all the boo after a play. And now this time with the spattering of Chargers fans, you hear the boos. Like, okay, can they just get back to playing good football? Good football. So let's see. Jesus says, I do want to see more JK and less Harvey. I want to see more of both. I want to see Harvey look better than he did today. That's for sure. As RJ Harvey, 3 catches, 14 yards, a long of 9, and then 2 carries, 2 yards, 1 yard a carry. Can't have that. Can't have that at all from RJ Harvey. So he needs to be better. And I think if you could get, again, 15 carries from JK every single week, KR's already saying they're not going to the playoffs. Okay. Come on. It's week 3. Now, Touchdown Bo Nix is one of my favorites in the chat room. He says underachievers. The Broncos are seriously underachieving. Like, seriously underachieving. And that's where it comes from. I could give a crap about you said 13 wins. Durr. Yeah, okay. I said 13 wins because I know that they have good talent. They're not playing up to that talent. So Touchdown Bo Nix is right on the money here because they're underachieving. The Broncos record says who they are, which is 1-2, which is not great, Bob. It means they're below average. Are they really below average? Do you really think that? Is this season a disaster? Are they going to win 5 games? Like, come on. If we fast forward this thing, what do you see? What do you see? I know some people are saying they're going to be looking for a quarterback. Oh, for the love of God, stop. Stop. It's ridiculous. Broncos country, you're better than this. You're better than they need to find a quarterback next year. I don't know how much college football you're watching, but next year's quarterback class is not great, Bob. One after that might not even be great. So, like, let's please. I know we're all pissed off, or at least you should be, unless you're happy that the Broncos lost. And if you're happy that the Broncos lost, you're just a tool bag. So stop. Don't be a tool bag. So if you're happy the Broncos lost, I don't know why you're watching a Broncos postgame show. But are they underachieving? Hell yeah, they're underachieving. And in this league, you can't do that for very long. You do that for very long and things will not go well for you. You do that very long and things just, they get away from you in the NFL. It's too tough. It's too tough to win. And the Broncos have dropped 2. They've dropped 2 in a row now, and they needed to turn around. Scott here says, need a better tight end. Best way, probably trade for a top tight end. Well, any chance you had may have gone by the wayside with like Jonnu Smith. We'd have to see where Cleveland's at the trade deadline because they really like Harold Fannin, which you should have liked Harold Fannin. So maybe you could trade for David Njoku. So maybe that's something, Scott, to look forward to at the trade deadline because tight end is definitely a hole. A big-time hole. Alex said, watch some great plays today from tight ends. Just saying. Exactly, Alex. You've watched it on the other side. Oronde Gadsden's a good player. The reason why Mason and I talked about him so much was Shriner Sr. Wherever he was at, Gadsden was a freak. And as I've said on 104 Through the Fan on Dover and Cecil, I'm a fan of freaks. And Oronde Gadsden is a freak athlete. And in his very first game, because he didn't play before week 3, had 5 catches for 46 yards. Lucas Cole had a catch for 9 yards. And Adam Troutman kept getting flags thrown on him. So, yeah, is there a problem at tight end? You bet your ass there's a problem at tight end. So, Alex, let's put a pin in that one. Maybe perhaps trading for a tight end is in their future. Diggity says Bo is good. Sean is the weak point. Certainly taking some issues with Sean's game plans to start out. Certainly taking some issues with his play calling, which he's not going to give up. Unless Greg Penner would come to Sean Payton and say, you got to give up play calling. And we would be like a year away from that, essentially. So I don't think they're going to suck for a year. I don't think they're going to underachieve for a year. And Sean Payton's as stubborn as the day is long. I don't think he'd give up play calling. And Mac says, man, they can't give 6 first downs and penalties. Right. The penalties were just crushing for this team. And again, they're not at that level where they can have that many mistakes and still win. What's the old Trendifer line? You can't lose and win. You can't lose in football and still win. Well, they were losing out there. Paul B saying the offensive problems are because of Sean Payton. Payton's not, he's not innocent in all of this. Sean Payton's not innocent in any of this. And oh my God, the Bo Nix sucks crowd. Please stop. You're embarrassing. Bo Nix sucks and you'll have to admit he's a bust by the end of next year. And and we'll never let you forget it. Okay. Good for you, bud, is what I would say. Yeah, if you're bailing on Bo Nix, then don't watch this show. That's fine. That's fine. John says I'm a punk. Okay, I'm a punk. What are you, John? Like, come on. Chat room, get a hold of yourself. Broncos country, you're better than this. You're better than these guys that are, Bo Nix sucks. This is the worst ever. Is that what you want to hear? One, it's not the truth. And two, it's week 3. Let's just bail on the season. You know what? I'm going fishing, guys. I'm going to go snowshoeing. I'm going to go live in the mountains. I'm not going to watch football because the Broncos are over. Now, Paul makes the argument Broncos should be 0-3. Well, Tennessee game could have got away from him. And that's the thing. And Paul, I think this shows exactly where the Broncos are. They could be 3-0. They could be 0-3. They're 1-2. So what are they? What are they? All these bold proclamations of it's a pun, Bo Nix sucks and all that. So, yeah. What are they? What are they? Yeah. Oh, Jason, I felt that. The offsides on Troutman. I was like, please. Luke, Bo needs to set his feet and his accuracy will improve. That's very true. Very true. And that's something that's got away from him a little bit. I saw it in training camp. I didn't think we'd see it this much in the regular season. Cricks saying Greenlaw was supposed to be the heart of the defense. Man alive. What is this Broncos team going to be? What is this Broncos team going to be? Bo's ceiling is a more mobile Sam Darnold. I did say Jared Goff was his pro comparison, which I guess for everyone that says Bo Nix sucks, besides Paxton Lynch, because I've seen that in the chat room, like it's a bad day for the chat room. There's a lot of emotion out there because Bo Nix doesn't suck and it's not over for this team. It just stinks right now because you let one get away against a divisional opponent at a time and a moment where it would have been nice. Would have been nice to get this one. Rusty Nails saying Herbert is way better than Nix. Yeah, right now. And talent-wise, just he's more talented quarterback than Bo Nix. Even if Bo Nix is playing up to his potential and Justin Herbert is playing up to his potential, Herbert is a better quarterback. Bo Nix is Jared Goff and a more mobile version. You can win a lot of games with Jared Goff. Can you win a championship? That's the thing. What else needs to be right when you have that around? Bo's off balance over and over. It's too much. Too much. You're seeing that. Sean's the problem. Screen pass on 3rd and 20. Yeah, that's right. Matthew saying going to be a long disappointment of a season. Well, it's disappointing right now. We're 3 games in. Can they turn it around? How do they turn it around? That would be Bo Nix playing more efficiently. That would be more of J.K. Dobbins. And that would be R.J. Harvey working out. Week 6. Week 6 is my, kind of clock strikes midnight. It doesn't mean that in week 6, if R.J. Harvey doesn't do anything, it's his bust. But that's when he should get going. It took Phillip Lindsay until week 6 to really get going. It took Clinton Portis until week 6 to get going. Now, he's not going to have 1,500 yards like Portis, and he's not going to have 1,000 yards like Phillip Lindsay. But just know that at that position, if you give him 6 weeks, you're going to, give Ashton Jeanty 6 weeks, give Travion Henderson 6 weeks, give Omarion Hampton 6 weeks. Like, that's where I'm really going to start judging R.J. Harvey. The judgment on this game is not great, Bob, especially as a runner. 1 yard a carry, you don't need that. And you need production from that part of the field. You need production from your running back room because that's the best friend of a young quarterback, right? Henry says, what happened to Troy Franklin today? They tried to get some stuff working for Franklin, but it just didn't pop. It'll still be there. Franklin took a big shot on one of those plays, and he still got up and, he was fine. But, it just wasn't quite there with Troy Franklin today. Not because of him. It's just the game plan was feed Court, and they fed Court. And then when there were some throws, the throw that was off to Marvin, obviously the deep one to Court that was off there as well. So Troy will be back. Nobody should be giving up on Troy. I don't think Henry's doing that, but yeah, it's definitely, you've seen a couple of games of Troy. It's like Emeka Egbuka with the Buccaneers. Like, you see a couple games, you get excited. You want to see more? You saw more. That one-hander today from Egbuka was flipping awesome. It was awesome. Yep, Bo's feet. Bo is a running quarterback. Well, I just don't want him to get hurt. And if you're running too much, you're increasing the chances that you can get hurt. Hufanga cost us the game. Yeah. Slamming down Keenan Allen. Should have not done that at all whatsoever. Not at all whatsoever. Tyler saying the race to get better is critical. Very true. And the Broncos are now 1-2. So they've dug themselves a hole. Can they dig out of it? We shall see. And so many comments, I can't keep up with them. I think it's funny that one guy called me a punk. Oh, well, he'll be all right. And I will be all right, because the Broncos will be out there fighting again. They will be fighting again on Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow. So if there's a measuring stick game, and yes, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will be tough to contend with, but if you don't look good against Jake Browning, the alarm bells will be ringing. I have a feeling they'll be just fine. But we'll see. I think Pavis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I mispronounce many things, and I apologize. I think this is the best way to look at it. Cecilia. I'm a believer, but bottom line, Bo didn't make throws today. Missed 2 TD throws. Yep. It's a perfect way to put it. You should still believe. He missed 2 TD throws today. He played a clean game, which is what I wanted. No interceptions. But he also missed 2 touchdown throws. So there you go. There you go. I appreciate everyone for coming out, even the guy that calls me names. Yeah, should have won the game. Game plan was awful. Yep. We lost to teams who were 6-0. Jason, very good reminder there. Again, not making excuses, but yeah, you're losing to some teams that are at the top of the league where you should have been, but you're not. You clearly aren't. You're not at the top of the league. You're not in that top tier. You're not in that second tier. You're in the third tier. You're right in the middle. And when you're in the middle, based on your action, you can go up, you can go down. What are you going to do, Broncos? What are you going to do? My plan is that they go up because I believe in this talent, but they've got to play way better than they have over the last 2 weeks. All right, that is a wrap for the post-game show. Coaching is trash. Can't pass it every down. Cheers, Cease. Thanks. Appreciate you. Appreciate you out there, Broncos country. It's tough. This sucks. There's no doubt about it. It's disappointing. But that's something now they have to fight through. They've put themselves in this hole. Can they dig themselves out? Can they dig themselves out? That's what we're fixing to find out. I'm Cecil Lammey. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment, and share to our YouTube channel. I'll calm down a little bit. I'll see y'all on the air tomorrow, 10 a.m. Orange and Blue Today, back here, 5 p.m. Until the meantime, here's some Mike Patton. Peace. Stay frosty.